Hi guys. This video is specifically to help you with tonight's Delta Math section. In tonight's Delta Math section, it's going to ask you to graph, but it's going to ask you very specifically to graph using points on the axes. Axes is plural for axis. And so basically it wants 2 points, one on the y-axis, which is what we've been doing, but the second point that they want it to be on the x-axis. So they don't want you to just put a random dot in the white space. They do want one on each axis. So let's talk a little bit about our intercepts is what they're called. So we can have an intercept for both the x and y. And so an x-intercept is where a line crosses the x-axis. And because it's a point on the graph, we usually write an ordered pair, which would be the number, whatever number it happens to be, comma 0. So that's how you can write about your x-intercept. And then y-intercept, we've kind of already learned about this because slope-intercept form has a y-intercept. But a y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. And again, because it's a dot on the graph, we write it as an ordered pair, 0, comma y. Notice that your intercepts will always have a 0 in the letter that we are not graphing on. So for the x-intercept, my 0 is the y-coordinate, and for my y-intercept, my 0 is the x-coordinate. If you already know what the intercepts are, you can just graph them, right? So if we were told that the x-intercept is 6, we go on the x-axis, and we go to the right 6, and we put a dot. If we're told that the y-intercept is -3, we go on the y-axis, we go down to the -3, we put a dot, and then we just connect those two dots together. Okay, so this is what they're looking for on your Delta Math tonight. They want you to put a dot on the y-axis, and then your second dot should be on the x-axis. Now, we've been graphing everything in slope-intercept form, which does not necessarily give us an x-intercept. Gives us a y-intercept, but we might need to do a little bit of work to find our x-intercept. So let's take a look at some examples of that. So here's a slope-intercept form, and I can definitely find my y-intercept because it's the last number in the problem. It's the 6. So I can definitely graph that. Now, normally from here, we would do our slope, which is -3/2. If I start at this point and I go down 3 and over 2 and I put a dot, I'm not on my x-axis. And so that's not what Delta Math wants. Delta Math wants you to keep doing your slope until you are touching the x-axis, and that's where your second point will go. So if I was on Delta Math, I would start at the 6. I would go down 3 over 2. I would not click a dot. Instead, I would go down 3 and over 2 again. And now that my dot would be on the x-axis, this is where I would put my second dot. So actually, we don't even, for paper we can, but for Delta Math, we would not graph that second dot. We would only graph the y dot and the x dot. And now I know what my x-intercept is. My x-intercept is at 4, 0. And then I can connect just these two dots, okay? So they want a dot on the y-axis and a dot on the x-axis. Okay, let's try one more just to make sure we're feeling confident. So here's another equation. Again, based on the equation, I can find my y-intercept. That's the last number. So my y-intercept is 0, comma, -3, and I can go ahead and graph that on here. And then I'm going to keep doing my slope until I get to my x-axis. And that's what I'm going to use for my second dot. So my slope in this problem is, well, there's an invisible 1 here. And then we do need our slope always is written as a fraction. So that's 1 over 1. So for my purple dot, I'm going to go, up 1 over 1. But I wouldn't graph a dot there. Up 1 over 1. Not quite ready yet. Up 1 over 1. And this is the dot that I would use. So I'm going to get rid of these dots. And I want my y dot and my x dot. And those are what I want for my Delta Math tonight. My x-intercept in this problem is at 3, 0. It's on the +3. And then I can connect those two dots. So if Delta Math says to graph dots on your axes, that means they want you to keep doing your slope until you hit the x-axis. So no dots in the white space, y-axis and x-axis only. All right, good luck with your Delta Math tonight.